من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا، من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. الحمد لله غافر الذنب وقابل التوب شديد العقاب ذو الطول لا إله إلا هو وإليه المصير. اللهم لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك. لك الحمد يا من لم تتخذ ولدا ولم يكن لك شريك في الملك ولم يكن لك ولي من الذل، والله أكبر كبيرا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله الأحد الفرد الصمد الذي لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد، مالك الملك يؤتي الملك من يشاء وينزع الملك ممن يشاء، يعز من يشاء ويذل من يشاء، بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. سبح له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. له ملك السماوات والأرض يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم. My brother، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله، بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين. تركنا على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. شرح الله له صدره ووضع عنه وزره وأعلمه أن مع العسر يسرا وأمره أن إذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. عباد الله، أوصيكم ونفسي المقصرة بتقوى الله، وأحذركم ونفسي من عصيانه ومخالفة أمره لزوما لقوله الحق تبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وكذلك في قول الحق تبارك وتعالى: يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. اتقوا الله فإن زلزلة الساعة شيء عظيم، يوم ترونها تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت وتضع كل ذات حمل حملها وترى الناس سكارى وما هم بسكارى ولكن عذاب الله شديد. My dear brothers and sisters, my dearest children, as we have a few of them here today with us, my Jumma khutbah today is orange. I'll be joining the majority of the Imams in the Imam Council of Canada to address the issue of truth and reconciliation as part of our initiative as a community to show support and solidarity with those who have been undermined, to those who were being treated unjustly, truth to what have happened in the past, and speak about and uncover the truth about the children who were killed in residential schools, and reconciliation to those who have survived this horrific and unjust and brutal systematic racist assimilating system that were created in our country, to those who have been resigning and living in this land for so many thousands of years. Indeed, we need to speak the truth and stand with others who are being treated unjustly, because the mighty Allah Azza wa Jal urged us to do so. إِنِّي حَرَّمْتُ الظُّلْمَ عَلَى نَفْسِي فَلَا تَظَالَمُوا. As the mighty speak in the Hadith Qudusi in behalf of, as the Prophet ﷺ spoke in behalf of Prophet Allah Azza wa Jal in the Hadith Qudusi, that Allah Azza wa Jal have forbidden injustice and have made it forbidding among you. And Allah Azza wa Jal in the Quran told us, كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله ولو على أنفسكم أو الوالدين والأقربين إن يكونوا فقراء وأغنياء يغنيهم الله من فضله. Allah Azza wa Jal wants us to stand for truth, for justice, regardless if this speaking the truth would be speaking against our own relatives or our own loved one. Because eventually justice and truth and applying the haqq on earth is one of the main pillars that Allah Azza wa Jal have established the khilafah on earth for. Therefore, as we are the true followers of the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal, we need to exercise this justice and speak about it and promote it and stand with those who have been treated unjustly and give them the support needed so they're able to recover from the trauma that they have lived through and be able to get their own rights back. Because the result and the consequences of not standing for justice is clearly demonstrated in the Quran, as Allah Azza wa Jal said in the Quran in Surah Al-Ankabut, which is a surah that speaks about testing. حَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. Do people will be tested and then they will be let alone without Allah Azza wa Jal knowing who's speaking the truth and who's speaking the false? And Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ in other parts of the Quran. But more specifically, after the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah Azza wa Jal speaks on behalf of Shu'aib. وَإِلَى مَدْيَنَ أَخَاهُمْ شُعَيْبًا إِذْ قَالَ لَهُمْ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَارْجُوا الْيَوْمَ الْآخِرَ وَلَا تَعْثَوْا فِي الْأَرْضِ مُفْسِدِينَ. Allah Azza wa Jal speaks about the experience of Madian when He sent to them their Shu'aib, their prophet Shu'aib. And their Shu'aib alayhi salam said to them, worship none but Allah Azza wa Jal, وَلَا تَعْثَوْا فِي الْأَرْضِ مُفْسِدِينَ, and do not spread the mischief on earth. فَكَذَّبُوهُ فَأَخَذَتْهُمُ الرَّجْفَةُ فَأَصْبَحُوا فِي دَارِهِمْ جَاثِمِينَ. And Allah Azza wa Jal, when they denied, وَكَانَ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ تِسْعَةُ رَهْطٍ يُفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا يُصْلِحُونَ, as He explained in another location in Surah An-Naml, that there are a group of gangs, of tyrants, of thugs, that they spread the mischief on the land and they plot against Shu'aib alayhi salam. And Allah Azza wa Jal, as a result of that, took care of them and send a severe punishment on them. فَأَخَذَتْهُمُ الرَّجْفَةُ فِي دَارِهِمْ فَأَصْبَحُوا جَاثِمِينَ. The shaking taking them and they become dead bodies on their own homes, in their own lands. And then after that, Allah Azza wa Jal speaks about وَعَادٌ وَثَمُودٌ وَقَدْ تَبَيَّنَ لَكُم مِّن مَّسَاكِنِهِمْ وَزَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُمْ فَصَدَّهُم عَنِ السَّبِيلِ وَكَانُوا مُسْتَبْصِرِينَ. Allah Azza wa Jal also spoke what happened to those who came afterwards from Ad and Thamud. وَقَدْ تَبَيَّنَ لَكُم مِّن مَّسَاكِنِهِمْ, and knew how civilized they were. As Allah Azza wa Jal also explained in Surah Al-Fajr, أَلَمْ تَرَ كَيْفَ فَعَلَ رَبُّكَ بِعَادٍ إِرَمَ ذَاتِ الْعِمَادِ التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد. Not only they have made it to the moon, not only they have invaded the space, not only they have created the most sophisticated, powerful weapons on earth, but Allah Azza wa Jal said in the Quran, Allah speaks the truth, لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد. Our own civilization in the 21st century is not even close to the civilization of Ad. التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد. And Thamud, those who have curved the stones in the valley, and they made for them houses in the mountains because they survived for many years, for decades. فصب فرعون ذي الأوتاد. And Allah spoke about Fir'aun, ذو الأوتاد, referring to the pyramids or to the posts that he used to make, to create for his opponents and crucify them on them. فَصَبَّ عَلَيْهِمْ رَبُّكَ صَوْتَ عَذَابٍ. Allah Azza wa Jal poured onto them the punishment from Him. And going back to Surah Al-Ankabut, Allah Azza wa Jal speaks further, وَقَدْ تَبَيْنَ لَكُم مِّن مَّسَاكِنِهِمْ وَزَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُمْ فَصَدَّهُمْ عَنِ السَّبِيلِ فَهُمْ وَكَانُوا مُسْتَبْصِرِينَ. It is Shaitan who hath blinded their eyes and decorated for them the mischief. And فَصَدَّهُمْ عَنِ السَّبِيلِ, drifted them from the right path. وَكَانُوا مُسْتَبْصِرِينَ, they had the ability to see the truth from the false. And then after that, Allah Azza wa Jal, وَقَارُونَ وَفِرْعَوْنَ وَهَامَانَ وَلَقَدْ جَاءَهُم مُوسَى بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ فاستكبروا في الأرض وما كانوا سابقين فكلا أخذنا بذنبه فمنهم من أرسلنا عليه حاصبة ومنهم من أخذته الصيحة ومنهم من خسفنا به الأرض ومنهم من أغرقنا وما كان الله ليظلمهم ولكن كانوا أنفسهم يظلمون. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. Quran is there for us, not for entertainment, my brothers and sisters. Quran is there for us to teach us, to give us examples to what have happened in the past so that we do not fall in the same traps of those who came from before us. Allah Azza wa Jal spoke about Qarun. We know Qarun, who was from the Qawm of Bani Israel, and Fir'auna, the tyrant, Haman, his assistant, and Allah Azza wa Jal said that وَلَقَدْ جَاءَهُمْ مُوسَى بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ. They were presented with the clear ayat from Allah Azza wa Jal to follow the right path, but they denied it. They denied it. And then as a result of that, Allah Azza wa Jal فَأَرْسَلْنَا عَلَيْهim حَاصِبًا. Allah Azza wa Jal sent unto them the wind that carried the sand, that destroyed them. And then Allah Azza wa Jal spoke about وَأَرْسَلْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ رِيحًا. And Allah Azza wa Jal sent unto them the wind that would take them and lift them up in the sky and throw them once again into the ground. And then Allah spoke about what happened to Qarun, the one who was so arrogant and proud of his own wealth. إِنِّي أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَى عِلْمٍ مِّنِّي. I have gotten this as a result of my own knowledge, my own achievement, my own advancement in science. Because the Mufassirun said that Qarun was a scientist who he knew through science breakthrough, he knew how to make more money through his inventions. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ Allah Azza wa Jal let the earth swallow him. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ أَغْرَقَ, referring to Fir'aun wa Haman لَعْنَةُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِمْ. وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيَظْلِمَهُم. Allah would not be treating them unjustly. وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. They got what they deserve. So we say to Canada, we say to North America, we say to them, we are true callers. We are the haqq callers. We are the ones who are standing with those who are being treated unjustly. We say before it is too late, before Allah Azza wa Jal wrath befall on all of us, let's stop the injustice. Let's reconcile with those who have been treated unjustly. Let us push our government for further reconciliation. Let us push our government to show more rights to the indigenous people, those who have been living in this land for thousands of years, and we shall not be following the footsteps of Ad, Thamud, Fir'aun, Qarun, those who have deserved the wrath of Allah Azza wa Jal and received His punishment. We also need to be mindful on a personal level if we are exercising injustice. Because I spoke from before about the injustice that has taken place in residential schools and the injustice that have taken place on the first inhabitants of this land. How colonialism have come to systematically destroy their livelihood, systematically drain the resources of this land, systematically create an apartheid regime system that classifies people into different categories. There are those who are superior with certain color skin, and there are those who are less superior and have no rights or less rights because of the color of their skins. We need to fight this ugly discrimination. We need to fight this ugly systematic racism so that our own children would not be facing discrimination, so that our own children would be able to live freely in this country and other parts of the world. Last week or 2 weeks, I was speaking in Hamilton when a young brother in his teens was killed in a cold blood, and he was not killed because he was defending his own honor, was defending his own money, or defending his own religion. But unfortunately, he was killed as a result of gang rivalry. And this gang rivalry that is created unseen in our societies is directly coming from the systematic racism that has been subjugated on our children because of their skin, the color of their skin. because of their faith, because of their cultural background. Now it is time for us in the Islamic Heritage Month to stand up and say, as we're calling for justice for the native people, as we're calling for justice for the indigenous people who are living in this land, we're also calling for justice for ourselves as Muslims. We're calling a justice for other Muslims who are living in other parts of the globe, because eventually, if we do not do so, then the consequences are going to be severe. As Allah Azza wa Jal said in the Quran, Inna Allah la yuhibbu al-zalimin. Allah Azza wa Jal does not like those who are injustice. And He also said in Surah Yusuf, Innahu la yuflihu al-zalimun. The zalim, tyrants, are never going to be successful in their life, are never going to be succeeding in their life. And this is also a call for us. A call for us that when we hear about any activities, when we hear about any movement that is calling for justice, to please do not sleep anymore. It is not an option for us anymore to sleep. Enough is sleeping, my brothers and sisters. We are seeing injustice being exercised on us systematically. It's all as a result of us running around, seeking the dollar, chasing the dunya, and we are, as a result of that, being humiliated. Enough is enough. We need to be true callers to the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. We need to be true followers of the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. We need to be like the Sahaba radwanullahi alayhim, those who have divorced the dunya and have lived towards their akhirah, those who have had in their mind one goal, that is to liberate the ibad from the slavery of the ibad to the slavery to the masters or the lord of the ibad, as Rabi'at mentioned to the king of Persian when he came to him and said, what brings you from the desert? What are you coming here for? Do you need food? Do you need money? I can send back with you some food that would support you and support all those who are living in the Arabian Peninsula. The Roman Empire, the Persian Empire was very rich. The Sahabi looked at him and said to him very simply, we're not coming after your wealth. We're not coming for the food. We're not coming for any materialistic benefits. We're coming to liberate people from the slavery they're living in. The invisible slavery that exists nowadays is called discrimination and racism. Many of our youth right now don't have much hope in their life. That's why they join gang groups. And when you ask them and inquire for them, why you don't have hope in your life? What makes you and push you to go and join gangs group? They will tell you, what hope do I have to get a decent job? There is a glass ceiling, as they call it, that I cannot penetrate, and if I penetrate it, I will be faced with so many shattered glasses that would hurt me. We heard this in the news from one of the politicians. Indeed, this gotta change. The culture needs to change. And who changes the culture? None but us, those who have the true haqq in their heart and in their minds. Like the Sahaba who fear no consequences of standing and speaking the truth. That's what we need to do, my brothers and sisters. And that's what I want my younger brothers and sisters to do. I want them to be empowered and inspired by the life of the prophets of Allah Azza wa Jal, by the life of the Sahaba, who fear none but Allah Azza wa Jal. They fear not the consequences of standing up and speaking the truth. Be 100% that Allah Azza wa Jal, the Mighty, is the one who provides. Allah Azza wa Jal, the Mighty, is the one who gives victory. Allah Azza wa Jal, the Mighty, is the one who will make the change in your life. Musa alayhi salam was threatened to be killed early in his life when he was infant, when his mom threw him in the river. And then later on, he tumbled the throne of Fir'aun la'natullahi alayhi and caused him to be drowned in the sea. Yusuf alayhi salam, who was a young boy living a Bedouin lifestyle in the suburbs of Palestine, Allah Azza wa Jal wants to make him the most influential and powerful man on earth. يا أبت إني رأيت 11 كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين. How would be for a young boy living a Bedouin lifestyle, chasing the sheep and looking after his own meal for the day, will become the most influential person in the earth at his time. The details are orchestrated and arranged by the mighty Allah Azza wa Jal. How could a young boy in a below average neighborhood with a very low socioeconomic status neighborhood, how could be for a young boy or a young woman like that be making a change in a country like Canada, or changing the conditions of the whole world? That is possible when we have true believers in Allah Azza wa Jal, when we have dua to the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal who have no interest in this dunya. When they stand to speak in front of individuals, they would not be pleasing and appealing for them so that they can keep a position, so that they can get paid for, so that they can be seen on the TV screen, so they can fulfill their personal interest of showing off. That's not how the Sahaba lived their life or advocated their life for the deen of Allah Azza for. Their interest was to please the mighty Allah Azza wa Jal. They used to work and sacrifice and run away from the credit and leave it to be given to them by Allah Azza wa Jal the mighty. In one of the battles, the Muslims were not able to penetrate one of the fortresses until one night a man with a face cover came and helped the Muslim army to penetrate that fortress, and they were able to conquer. And then the leader of the army was trying to find out who have done this, and no one showed up. And then he insisted and said, by Allah Azza wa Jal, the one who have done this, come to me, I will not be revealing who you are. And in one of the nights, while he was sitting by himself, a person come to him in the darkness of the night and said to him, I am the person of the face covered, Sahibun Naqb. And by Allah Azza wa Jal, if I am not worried that my rewards from the mighty Allah Azza wa Jal be decreased, I'll be uncovering my face and let you know who I am. And then after that, the leader said, his dua was from there on, that Ya Allah, make me resurrected in the company of Sahibun Naqb, the person who has the face shield. May Allah Azza wa Jal the Mighty help us to be through dua to the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. May Allah Azza wa Jal help our children to be inspired by the Quran, to be inspired by the stories of the Quran, to be inspired by the stories of the Sahaba, and to develop a personality of a da'i to the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal, who fears nothing, who has no interest in anything but the interest of pleasing the mighty Allah Azza wa Jal. وأقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه فيا فوز المستغفرين. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا وسيئات اعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. ان الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا ايها الذين امنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم وبارك اللهم على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم في العالمين انك حميد مجيد. اللهم ان عبيدك ابناء عبيدك ابناء امائك يا رب نواصينا بيدك ماض فينا حكمك عدل فينا قضاؤك. نسألك ربي بكل اسم هو لك سميت به نفسك أنزلته في كتابك أو علمته أحدا من خلقك أو استأثرت به في علم الغيب عندك بأن تجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعله جلاء لهمومنا وأحزاننا يا أرحم الراحمين. يا رب هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. ربي أوزعني أشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علي وعلى والدي يا رب، وأن أعمل صالحا ترضاه، وأصلح لي في ذريتي إني تبت إليك وإنني من المسلمين. ربنا اجعلنا هداة مهديين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم نسألك حسن الختام، اللهم نسألك من كرمك وجودك بأن تجعل أجمل وأحلى أيامنا يوم نلقاك شهداء في سبيلك على أشرف البقاع وفي أشرف الأيام وفي أشرف الأوقات وعلى أشرف الحالات والهيئات التي ترضيك عنا يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وأقم الصلاة.